What is up? Hopefully you can hear me okay. What's going on, Melissa? What's going on, Beth? Good to see everybody. Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. My friends call me Sleuth. What's up, Wanda? Good to see you, Cindy. Rebecca. Happy New Year's, everybody. We're going to say peace out to 2023. Man, this was a quick year. Molly. What's up, Jari? What you up to? Staying busy? Missing and unsolved. Happy New Year. Hather's Mirror. Good to see you. Rebecca. You like classical? What's up, Farmer? This is what you guys can expect today. We're going to talk a little bit. I got an update for the members drawing winners. Also, I have a request about cases. We need some more cases to cover for True Crime in the Morning. So we'll talk about that. And then we will address some rumors apparently that are going around about me online by some lunatic. Lone Pony. What's going on, CJK? Happy New Year's to you. Bobby, what's up? ATS, welcome over. One of the major topics for today's discussion is going to be Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Have you guys been keeping up with that story? So we're going to talk about that. Let me share my screen. If you do not know anything about this case, do not go ahead and put a 1 in the chat if you do not know anything about the case. That way I can kind of determine how deep I need to go. I have 4 videos. I may only need to play 1. But I definitely want to talk about that. And also we can touch on the Savannah Soto case. I don't know if there's any updates on that case. Maybe this will ring a bell. That was Gypsy being released from prison. So yeah, we'll get to that here in just a moment. T Lemon says the piano music reminds me of the murder of Christina Parcells, who was a hideous child abuser of her own child. Was taken out, thankfully, by a wonderful pianist named Zach. That's interesting. Yeah, what are you guys up to? You gonna go see the fireworks? What are the plans? Yep, T, she's out of jail. She is free. She posted to Facebook the other day and said, "My first selfie." Yeah, this is a very strange case. This is one of those cases I really don't know what to think, because I'm a firm believer in the human element, right? It's a big factor for me when I'm considering any case. When you have multiple humans involved, each one has their own factor. You really only know how truthful they want you to believe they are. What's up, Connie? Happy New Year. Turquoise. When is Richard Allen's next court date? Not sure. I'm sure somebody can post that in the chat. I don't know. Everything's changing so much with that. Esther Heisen, hello. Sussex, UK. Shout out to the other side of the pond. Happy New Year. We say farewell to 2023 and we welcome in 2024. What are your, if you guys want to, post some of your resolutions. I think mine is going to be more around health and maybe more adventures. And a renewed dedication to my YouTube channel here. Cindy says, I don't know the rumors, but it is a sign of success and jealousy of others, however unwanted by you. It's very strange. I just want to give, I don't plan to talk about it, but I want to give all of you an opportunity to talk about it or to ask a question. We're not going to feed it. We're not going to feed the troll, right? But as my subscribers, and really my channel isn't me, it's you guys. Like for instance, good to see you, Julia. Julia has been a huge part of the Sleuth crew. You know, she made great connections, made a great connection for us here on this channel. Things like that. And there's been a lot of instances like that. So we want to build that. I can't do this alone. I'm just the guy who is holding all the walls up, right? I'm trying to hold the walls up. We got trolls trying to come in, right? They're peeking through the windows. Like, hey, you guys are having, why'd you kick me out of the party, right? Well, it's because you stink. That's why. When you don't stink, you might be able to come back in, but you still stink. So I'm just here holding up the walls. That's it. But you guys make the foundation. The members, the viewers, the people who participate in chat. We have a lot of lurkers who come in, they subscribe just to chat and leave. I appreciate those folks. Just be a force of positivity in the world, right? The planet is mostly water. Human beings are mostly water. We know that positive vibration and negative vibration affect water. So if we continue to spread positivity, we can spread that wave out there, that vibration, and we can all start to do better and feel better. To me, that's where it starts. A positive vibration. So maybe that's a good resolution. Spreading more positive vibes. Farmer says no. Really? Farmer, you're with all your true crime knowledge? Man, this is going to shock you. Esther says no. New to me. In 2017, HBO put out a documentary. I can't remember the title. It was something like Mother Dearest, Mother Deadest, or something real strange, play on words. But man, it was an in-depth, deep dive into this case. And you know how HBO is. They try to do their own political and psychological spin on things, which has been very effective, especially with cases like the West Memphis 3. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened without HBO becoming involved in that case. T says, show on Christina Parcells. Why is that, T Lemon? Steve says, I am not familiar. I'm surprised there's a lot of you that do not know this case. I wish I could get away with playing the HBO documentary, but it'd probably shut me down real quick. Molly says, I'm amazed no one is talking about Kimberly Singler, 35-year-old Colorado City, unalive, 2 of her kids. Third one, aged 11, lived, faked a burglary. Cops didn't get arrest. Warrant for a week. Wow, that does sound interesting. Kimberly with 2 E's at the end, huh? I mean, it blows my mind how often these types of cases happen. And we're working on a show called, hold on. Let me go to my notes. I knew I had a good title. Evil Eyes. What do you guys think about that? We're going to do a live stream based through the eyes of certain killers. Like, what could possibly be going on in their mind? I was chatting it up with Brad from Outside of the Grid. It's another YouTube channel. And we were talking, and he's like, man, you should check out this police interview / interrogation. It was right around Valentine's Day because we're always talking about the Delphi case. We're trying to gain insights through other cases, and we're constantly working on that case, right? And anything that might help us glean information or gain insight. And through this case, this guy was just going on and on and on about, he was just trying to play this character where he was innocent and he was playing his role in the interrogation, right? You got the cop who's trying to act like he's his friend. And then you got this killer who's trying to act innocent. Well, come to find out, he was cheating on his wife and killed his girlfriend who had just flown overseas to be with him for Valentine's Day. He killed her. So I just could not understand what the hell was going on in this guy's mind. And that's why I personally do true crime. Honestly, I just want to understand my enemy. And my enemy is anybody that would attempt to hurt my family, right? So I need to learn about them. I need to learn about who might hurt my loved ones. And sometimes it's just so hard to try to figure out what the hell is going on in their minds. So I want to put together a live stream where we cover cases and we try to just kind of gain an understanding of what these people might be thinking. Because right now, to me, it seems impossible to prevent these kind of crimes when you have these chameleons, right? They're walking around looking like family men, looking like normal people, working at your local CVS, right? And then they commit these horrible crimes that it's almost like a nuclear bomb, right? It hits right there is the epicenter of the crime scene. But that shock wave, it never stops. It just keeps expanding, 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 expanding. And throughout those shock waves are just more victims, victims, and victims throughout the whole process. But the main focus is always that epicenter. And it kills me to understand what the hell would drive somebody to do that. Men, women, children, all types of killers. Unsolved says 1, not aware. Hathers, not aware. All right. Well, we're going to have a quick overview of this case right now. We're not going to really do a deep dive. We're just going to do a quick look at this compilation here. And then we'll talk about it and then anything else we want to. We'll talk about whatever we want. But yeah, most importantly, though, if you guys can send me different cases to cover for True Crime in the Morning, my email is sleuthintuition@gmail.com. Just send me a couple links, some details about the case. We're looking for unsolved mysteries. mysterious deaths, maybe undetermined, maybe old cold cases that are losing steam, have been forgotten, something that we can kind of rekindle and maybe cast a new spark. So shoot me an email. Give me a few details. You're looking for a little bit of evidence that we can show to the viewers. Maybe look at witnesses, sketches, 911 calls, things like that. Something that we can show and something that we can get together as a group of online sleuths. I know to some that's a big joke, but to others, we know that that can be a force. We know that for a fact, and we know investigators and law enforcement also agree with that. It could be a force for good, and it could be a force for bad. We're hoping we can be a force for good. Turquoise says, I haven't seen anything new on Savannah. I'm expecting that case to break wide open. Just to break wide open. I tried to participate in a Facebook group. Whew. Man, you want to talk about toxicity. Yikes. I deleted the comment and I got out of there. Man, it was crazy. It's like people first. Human behavior is very strange. First off, some people won't even read the full thing, right? So they're not getting the full picture. They're just react. They're just instantly triggered. So I'm like, oh, I ain't got time for this. There you go. Thank you, Farmer. So you guys hit me up, sleuthintuition@gmail.com. Sorry about this. DC Prime Time with the super chat. My bad. May I use your interview for a statement analysis? I'm not monetized. I don't care if you're monetized. I mean, I don't think there's anything I could do about it, even if you wanted to, DC Prime Time. As long as you do it the right way. But I don't have a problem with it. Not at all. I appreciate you asking, though. Honestly, I do. But I think fair use is fair use. I appreciate you. Shout out to DC Primetime. Cindy Lean, always coming through with the sponsorship. Happy New Year, Sleuth Crew. Let's make it a great one. Nice. Haha, Cindy. Oh, we got wife Lilith in the house. What is up? Damn, with the super chat. Holy shit. Never stop being a good person because of bad people. Oh, I won't. Happy New Year, Sleuth. Justice for Abby and Libby in 2024. And it's coming. Shout out to wife Lilith. Thank you. You guys rock. Let's go to Wanda. What's up, Wanda? How you doing? Shout out to Missouri. I feel she manipulated the young man to kill her mom like her mom manipulated the system. How is it that, yeah, is it Blanchard or Blanchard? Never stood up once to tell everyone she could walk. The benefits outweighed honesty. Yeah, and I don't know how I feel about that. Like, honestly, I'm torn. Like, you're grown up. Imagine growing up being part of somebody's scam. I mean, I don't know. I think you would have, what do they call that? Oh, I had it slipped right off the tongue. When you're a prisoner for so long, you start agreeing and um, showing empathy and sympathy for your own captors and people who are torturing you. What is that called? Is that Stockholm syndrome? I think it is. Yeah, I think that's what I was looking for. Stockholm syndrome. I think she's probably had a lot of that going on. But she went and did her time. She's free now. Regardless of what we think about who she was, what she should have done, and all of that, she's free now. And let's go ahead and give an overview for those folks who don't quite understand what we're talking about. If you can't hear this, let me know.
You've likely heard of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who tonight is a free woman. Convicted 7 years ago of killing her mother, but released from prison.
Okay, can you guys hear that? I want to do a quick sound check. All right, thank you, Farmer. Let's go.
Following reports that she suffered years of abuse. Here's NBC's Jesse Kirsch.
Tonight, we're seeing some of the first images of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, finally freed from a Missouri correctional center today after spending the better part of a decade behind bars for her role in a high-profile plot to kill her allegedly abusive mother back in 2015. She conspired with her then-boyfriend, who's serving life in prison for the fatal stabbing of Gypsy's mother, Dee Dee. Gypsy alleges her mother forced her for years to pretend she was critically ill, even using a wheelchair and having as many as 30 surgeries.
How is this going to stay with her for the rest of her life?
We've been running support groups for adult survivors like Gypsy. She'll have PTSD. She might engage in somatizing behaviors, which is where you focus on physical small things, but you exaggerate them or you worry about them excessively, or you turn psychological pain into physical symptoms.
Gypsy's case captivated the nation.
Okay, you guys, give me one moment here. I'm going to reset my system. And also in the chat, how many of you realize that you do know this case now? After seeing a couple of these older clips, go ahead and let me know in the chat. I'm going to reset my system. I'll be back in like a minute. Alrighty. Not quite sure why that happens. I got a new video card so I can play this boxing game, and ever since then it just acts weird with my VLC movie player. All right, let me pull that video back up and find the spot where we ended. I think right about there. Thank you guys. No audio. Appreciate that. You guys are the best. Okay. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and cut this one, and I have a longer one. Let's watch that.
On air, online, on the happening in.
Check a charity. Go to this website. It's Charity Nav.
Happy endings are not just in fairy
too much, they'd be that we have helped.
And it's real
Joplin, and it's all moving
2 million
flash flood threat. Here's what
the might lead to reevaluating your application.
The Blanchards were approved and got through the door.
Habitat doesn't give away homes.
They appear a lot of times
on air, online, on the go. KY3 News
Can you
at
guys
6
hear that?
starts now.
things are not always as
Bam. Thank you, Outback. Okay, this one's about 7 minutes.
they appear. A lot of times we're deceived, and I think this might be the case.
Startling new developments in an already bizarre murder case in Springfield.
Gypsy Blanchard, now charged with killing her mother, and a wide-ranging fraud scheme uncovered by investigators. It is a twisted story that's leaving family, friends feeling betrayed and wanting answers. From KY3 News, I'm Lisa Rose.
And I'm Steve Grant. Gypsy Blanchard, along with Nicholas Godejohn, are in Wisconsin tonight on $1 million bond, charged with stabbing Dee Dee Blanchard in their Springfield home.
The two made their first court appearance today in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Gypsy crying through the proceedings and shocking many of those who knew her because she was walking and not using a wheelchair.
The photo on the left shows Gypsy as we have seen her. On the right, her mugshot. Totally different. This unfolding story is full of mystery, deception, and raising more questions from detectives and those close to the Blanchards.
Team coverage starts right now with Linda Russell outside the Blanchards' house with the latest from the neighbors there. Linda?
Well, the crime scene tape is up here still for a third day in a row as investigators continue collecting evidence here. But new shock today in this close-knit neighborhood for all those who knew the Blanchards as wonderful people. Now they don't know what to believe.
I don't know what's truth from lie.
No one in the neighborhood could comprehend how anyone would want to harm Dee Dee Blanchard and her handicapped daughter, Gypsy.
I thought they were nice and kind and, you know, loving people.
Sweet, loving, caring, just full of life and happiness.
Very odd.
Things are not always as they appear.
Investigators say the awful Facebook posts that tipped off friends that something was wrong were actually authored by Gypsy herself. She told investigators she knew her boyfriend, Nicholas Godejohn, was going to kill her mother, and she did nothing to stop it. Godejohn told detectives that Gypsy gave him the knife and asked him to kill her mom. Court documents say they cleaned up some of the blood, took a cab away from the house.
We know that they were here in Springfield for at least probably 1 to 2 days after the murder had taken place.
The other shock to those who thought they knew Gypsy is that she doesn't need a wheelchair.
I've never seen her out of her wheelchair. It's like that's unheard of.
Up there.
Okay. So her mother kept her in a wheelchair, but not only that, she would advocate and say that she was suffering from certain things, and she'd become a spokesperson for those illnesses. She would come to public events as a public speaker. I mean, it's beyond strange. I can understand the Munchausen and doing all this weird stuff behind scenes, but then coming out into the public with it is that's a whole nother thing.
There was no wheelchair taken. She's carrying her own luggage.
The pair was arrested in Wisconsin after a standoff. They'd taken a bus to get there. Investigators say they've also uncovered a long history of financial fraud by the mother and daughter. Debbie says she once gave Dee Dee money to help cover bills.
What's up, Tech Death?
Disappointed, and I think a lot of people, you know, to be, you know, frauding people.
This is a tragic event surrounded by mystery and public deception.
Of course, the news of Gypsy's alleged involvement in the crime is the biggest shock of them all.
No mother deserves to be murdered like that. No mother deserves that.
The sheriff did not go into a motive, but said,
I don't know. The HBO documentary sure as hell made you feel like she deserved it. You know, you were all like, well, she deserved it. But I mean, murder's wrong. So HBO has this really, I don't know what you'd call it. They have this ability to kind of get into the hearts and minds of people. It's kind of evil in a way if you think about it. the way they are able to do that.
As he believes there will be enough evidence to paint a picture at the trial. Investigators say they'll likely be on the scene here for one more day. Live in Greene County, Linda Russell, KY3 News.
Thanks, Linda. Here's what we know about Nicholas Godejohn, the man who was arrested with Gypsy and charged with Dee Dee's murder. He lives in Big Bend, Wisconsin, in the house where he and Gypsy were both arrested yesterday. Godejohn also has a criminal past. In 2013, he was arrested after investigators say he was watching pornography and fondling himself in a McDonald's restaurant for 9 hours. Police charged him with carrying a concealed weapon after finding a large knife during the arrest.
Jeez.
Lisa?
So how do investigators say Godejohn got to the Ozarks and helped Gypsy commit the crime? KY3's Jahan Sheikh joins us from the Greyhound Terminal in East Kearney with more on that. Jahan?
Lisa, authorities believe that Gypsy's boyfriend, Nicholas Godejohn, arrived here in Springfield from Big Bend, Wisconsin on a Greyhound bus. Now, there's no official timeline, but authorities believe a short time after Godejohn stabbed Dee Dee, Gypsy's mother, they both, Gypsy and Godejohn, hopped on a Greyhound bus back to Wisconsin. Now, authorities say that no one would have recognized Gypsy because both of her...
Yeah, how are they going to recognize her? They're going to be like, nope, we didn't see a wheelchair. That's like the perfect crime. Crazy. Devoted says, hey, Tech Death Hippie, I love your guitar intro on Kristen's page. I agree. But I still have that beat you sent me. Not quite sure what to do with it yet. Western Skies, welcome to the Sleuth crew. Welcome over. Yeah, I definitely recommend at least watching that HBO documentary. I think it came out in 2017. I could be mistaken. Strange title, Mother Dearest, Mother Deadest, or something strange like that. Molly says, I don't advocate killing. That part is so wrong. It reminds me of the burning bed. You know, how do you feel about the death penalty? There's so many things in this world when it comes to the philosophy of men that is just so flawed. But I mean, if somebody's going to hurt women and children and all that, I say let them burn, right? Fry them. Or what do they do now? Electrocution, injection, firing squad. I remember covering the Koberger case. They were talking about putting together a firing squad. Like, what the man, we really haven't come that far, guys. You know, and speaking for myself personally. Melissa says Gypsy would have probably be dead by now if her mom was alive still. Well, think about it. All she had to do was get up out of her wheelchair and walk away. But when you're living in a, remember the prison, she was already in probably like a mental prison. And hindsight is 20/20. And even outside looking in, right? You already have a bird's eye view of the situation. Imagine being inside of that situation, dealing with your mental health. What about your own personal development? She was born into that. You know, us, you know, as children, you get brought up by your parents. You get nurtured and you get taught lessons and you get told anecdotal stories about what to do and what not to do and why not to do them. She didn't have any of that. Yeah, it looks like they're getting sound, Jari. All right, let's continue on here.
Looks and her alleged illnesses were deceiving.
Deception down to Dee Dee and Gypsy's last name.
Her last name is not Blanchard. It's Blanchard with no E.
An E that family friend Brittany Hansen says Dee Dee added when she and Gypsy moved to Springfield.
See, she's like a con artist, her mom. Like, why would you add an E? It's like you're trying to run from whatever fraud case you left, back at the other address. Devoted says, Jari, try refreshing the stream. You guys can all hear me, right? She was in a mental prison for sure. Was she? I thought she was in a regular prison. But I don't know much about that part.
Brittany knew the Blanchards when they lived in South Louisiana.
She was very friendly. She was very sweet. That I don't believe to be untrue. She was very sweet. I called her Aunt Dee Dee.
Yeah, I'm a little bit weird, guys, but the sweeter and nicer of a person you are, the more suspicious I am of you.
But at the same time, you only know what she told you.
And what's being uncovered about the lives of Dee Dee and Gypsy don't seem to add up.
I know that when she moved to Missouri in 2007, she said that Gypsy was 12.
Let's go to devoted question here, or comment. She said prison has helped her reach milestones, mental health wise, that she wouldn't have got. Well, when she walked out of prison, she looked like a normal person to me. She was dressing normal. She looked, her posture was normal. She looked to be in good health. So yeah, I mean, I can't wait till she makes a comment. I'm curious to hear what Gypsy has to say.
Which is not true.
A lot of neighbors seem to believe Gypsy's long list of medical issues had her in a wheelchair, which authorities have now uncovered as untrue.
She can walk without assistance or a wheelchair, and she can do that very well.
A part of a plan Brittany believes Dee Dee orchestrated to...
Yeah, this is a good comment here by Rain Dancer. Good to see you, Rain Dancer. Nonetheless, I see failure with the medical persons too. I mean, who does surgery without clear and accurate diagnosis? I think there's a lot of that going on, to be honest. We'll see if this helps. And we'll see if this fixes it. But yeah, it's like a lack of scientific proof, right? Scientific proof. It's like, didn't you see for yourself for a fact that this person was sick with what she's being diagnosed with? Yeah, that's a good point, Rain Dancer. So it seems to be a failure on all accounts. But again, I guess doctors are taking the feedback from the parents very seriously, right? They're not expecting the parents to be lying. So as a physician, you're looking for input and you're trying to put together, all the facts to come up with the best answer. And you're getting a lot of your so-called facts, right? That aren't facts, but you're getting your so-called facts from who you think you can trust as a parent, but really it's all lies. I guess that probably played a big role. You hope. But still, right? You still should have scientific evidence of what you're doing and why you're proceeding with something so severe.
Get money.
Like a
when
surgery.
Dee Dee was younger, she went about getting money a different way.
Her father had mentioned to my mother on an occasion that Dee Dee had stolen her mother's ID and name and tried to open some credit cards with it.
Regardless, she says it's hard to believe Gypsy turned on her mother.
Even if you know someone as much as you think you do, that you know them as well as possibly can be, they can still surprise you. So to find that this little girl had brutally orchestrated her mother's murder.
Yeah, devoted. I guess that's a good way to put it.
It's really hard to swallow.
Now, a lot of people trying to comprehend all of this information. Now, a reporter that I'm in close contact with in Wisconsin says, like you said, Steve, that Gypsy cried the entire time during the court hearing this afternoon. Reporting in Springfield.
All right. So we'll just, because we're running out of time, there's a couple other things I want to go over. We got about an hour here. But what do you guys think about that case, right? I mean, there's like 4 different true crime stories in there. I mean, just what happened to Gypsy alone is a true crime story in itself and a tragedy. And then the way that she handled it, right? the human factor. We're all looking at the world. The world is different to each and every one of us. You are not seeing what I am seeing at all. We could be looking at the same thing. We could be standing side by side looking at the same exact thing, and we are not seeing anything even close to each other. When I say red, you're seeing purple, but your purple is my red. So no matter what, when I say red, yeah, that's red. And God knows what a circle looks like to you. I mean, the human perception is very strange. So I'm very curious to understand what's going on through the mind of these killers and these family destroyers. What could possibly make them do what they do? For instance, the Delphi killer. What? I just don't understand it. And then even furthermore, being able to live with yourself. I can understand doing something tragic. I've covered some cases where folks commit the murder and they inject themselves in the cases and they're cold-blooded and they just don't want to get caught. And then there's others who, even though the crime was heinous, they're almost ill with regret. Sela says, I feel for the guy she got to kill her mom for her. Yeah. Usually, if you hire somebody to kill somebody, you're the cause of that murder. Like you're the one doing the long sentence, right? But I think because of the HBO documentary, I think she got leniency. I'm telling you, there's just something weird about HBO and how they get involved in these true crime cases. The trajectory, right, Derek? They're able to change it. Melissa Lone agree, very wrong murder, but what her mom did was wrong. Julia, I have a lot of questions for whatever doctors treated her for her non-existent cancer. Exactly. Like what are you putting down on paper and what are you sharing with your peers? Oh, well, her mom said this. It's all just what her mom said? Like what is it that you're showing? What are they concurring with? Right? Man, that really makes you wonder. I don't trust I don't trust anybody. But yeah, the whole medical practice, you have the human factor and everything you deal with. Call it the 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10 will be a sick SOB. And when I say 1 out of 10, give me school teachers. 1 out of 10 is a sick SOB. Give me firefighters. 1 out of 10. And I'm saying at the very minimum, the very least. Give me a bus filled with nuns. 1 out of 10. It's like the game of Clue. One of you in this room is a sick SOB. Who is it? Usually it's the really nice one, right? Oh, yeah, I'll watch your kids when you're gone. I'll take care of the youngins. You and the missus need a time to yourself. Go out and have a good time. I'll stay home and watch the children. Right? Those are the people. It's a red flag. I'm sorry to you genuine nice people. I just don't believe you're genuinely nice. I think nice is something that you do, not a way that you act or the way that you talk. It's in your actions. Watch out for that plastic smile. Plastic smile can't work. You guys know about that? Violet, good to see you, Violet. I hope Gypsy can heal and move on emotionally and physically. I think she's done a lot of healing. I would just like to know her real truth, you know? Like, does she still feel like that gratification, you know? Like, I got my revenge. I wonder if that's still there, that killer instinct. Oh, one thing I forgot. All you members who won for the giveaway, for the 2023 giveaway, Sleuth Crew giveaway, all orders have been filled. And we are expecting shipping in a couple days. So when we get more details on that, we'll let you know. But everything has been processed and it should ship in a few days. And over the next week, I'll have more details for you guys, more specifics. But all orders are out. Congratulations again to all you guys, all you winners. Oh yeah, 100% devoted. Says he wanted to sexually assault the mom. That dude is a weirdo, and that's why Gypsy probably chose him, right? Somebody that she could manipulate. She was in a what do you call it? In her mind, a desperate situation. Yeah, from what I understand, the guy who committed John, or he's got a weird name. I think he was arrested for like looking at porn and touching himself or something in public. So we're not talking about some nice person who was, you know, drawn in by Gypsy. No, she knew he wasn't good and she used him as a tool. That's why you have to be careful. Not everybody who threatens you is going to physically harm you. They have ways to get at you without you even knowing it, right? Without you even suspecting. You guys all heard about the Schillmiller case. I mean, this guy was living in Indiana and was catfishing somebody in Alaska and convinced a group of like 5 people, four or five people, to commit a brutal homicide, and didn't do anything but move his mouse and type on a keyboard. You know, so you big tough guys out there who are like, oh, well, what the hell is this guy going to do? Man, you'd be surprised of some of the things we find in these true crime cases of what happened to people without the killer even lifting his finger. You heard about the guy from California who sex-torted people in Indiana? Man, this guy was tormenting the FBI, using tactics, VPNs, misleading, you know, leaving breadcrumbs to nothing on his online trail. They couldn't find him. And he was shutting down schools. He was, I think one of his victims maybe even tried to hurt themselves or something. But it was just literally terrorism, right? Didn't do anything but sit behind a computer screen. He was like America's Most Wanted for a while. Just some douchebag behind a computer. Yeah. So, you know, you got to be careful who you threaten, who you talk to, who you try to act big and bad with, because you just never know. You know, that's why Batman wears a mask, right? He cares about the people he loves. That's why a lot of these YouTubers want to remain anonymous. You know, they care about their family. But it's those people that come online and become predators that don't care about their family and don't care about anybody, really, not even themselves, that you have to worry about. Melissa Sleuth, ever get a chance, check out Tracy Thurman. Story disgusting. Her husband was Yeah, if you have if you have a case that you're really passionate about, or that you've taken a lot of time to look into, those are the cases I want to hear about. I want to talk to you about it. I want to know what drew you to the case. Why should we cover it? What's important about it? Obviously, something drew you to that case, right? I want to get to that. And how do we share that? Whatever it was, that those claws that hooked into you, if we can continue to share it, maybe can sink a few more claws, and then they'll share it. Then it'll go viral. Betsy Bling says, from what I understand, Dee Dee claims Gypsy's former medical records were lost in Hurricane Katrina. New doctors took Dee Dee word for previous diagnosis. Yeah, maybe that's the malpractice right there. Or maybe they need to change their rules, or their understanding of the human element, right? These people might be lying to me. I know it would be odd for these people to be lying about something. Why would they lie about this? But they might be lying. That's the one thing about true crime that blows my mind. It's everything is hindsight. How do we get that Minority Report on them? You know what I mean? How do we see the future with these nut jobs? How do you see Richard Allen getting out of that car and kick him in the nuts? How do we get there? We don't. Because the truth is, these types of killers, they hide. They hide right in front of you. How many interviews with family members, brothers and sisters, wives, fathers, mothers, neighbors, where they're like, man, I never saw this coming. Nicest person I've ever met. There's just no way I'll believe it. Time and time again. All right, so we're going to get out of here in about 5 minutes, guys. So that's all I was hoping to get from you guys. If there's cases that you're passionate about and you want me to cover that on True Crime in the Morning, I'm more than happy to take a look. Like I said, we're looking for murder mysteries, suspicious deaths, undetermined deaths that are surrounded by mystery, family members who are requesting more attention for that case, these cases. But we need something to share, right? We need cases that have witness statements, maybe some sketches, 911 calls. Maybe other investigators have made some strides in the case. I just want to get a room together filled with sleuths and put our heads together. That's it. Maybe we can add something helpful. Who knows? If we're going to be watching true crime and trying to figure out what the hell makes these guys do what they do, we might as well try to be helpful, right? I can chew gum and walk, I think. Exactly. Yes, the old saying, your perception is your reality. And what does the world look like through a killer's eyes? What are they seeing? That story that I was telling you earlier about that interview Brad from Outside of the Grid shared with me. He had a wife and kids. And for him to just be able to kill that woman, I mean, what did the world look like through his eyes? How did that happen? And then I recently found another case where a man in a bar overpowered another man and sexually assaulted him. What does the world look like through that man's eyes? Yeah, what do people go through? It is really hard to relate sometimes. Yeah, every man thinks his burden is the heaviest, right? You think so? I don't know what the hell's going on with Richard Allen. I wish I knew more about him. It's always nice when we're chatting about the Delphi case and people who know Richard Allen or anybody related to that case closely. It's always good to gain some insight and hear what they have to say. Hather says, I wondered how people can just live like they never did anything. Yeah, I mean, I wonder what life is like that following day. Like, is there guilt? Are they guilt stricken? Or, you know, when you have a beef with somebody that you care about and there's like this cloud over your head and you're like, man, I really need to resolve this or this cloud's going to follow me. I wonder if it's anything like that times 10. Like, what the hell is going on? Is there any remorse? And is there remorse that they have to fight to, like, is there a point where it gets so bad where they're like, oh, I have to admit what I did or I have to tell somebody? Maybe that's a place where we can start catching these folks, knowing that they told somebody. You have some behaviors, and if you don't have those behaviors, that tells us that they've released some of those skeletons. Christine, welcome. Yeah, it's a tough case. A lot of drop balls all around there. Munchausen freaks want attention. That's why they do it. Quite simplified, but that's a quick explanation. Yeah, I could see that. Violet says her boyfriend was a complete psycho. Yeah, he was a criminal. He was just the tool that she needed to get the job done. She delegated. Thanks, DC. Yeah, good luck with that video. And I'm sure you'll keep it classy. Violet says he had a huge fantasy for sexual assault. Are you referring to Richard Allen? I think that is the case. I think there's a lot more to that story, though, honestly. All right, guys, we are going to get out of here. If you can hit the like button on the way out, I'm going to try and get together tonight. I'm not quite sure what my plans are. I don't know what's going on. But I'll try to do a quick check-in again later and see where you guys are all up to. Catch you on the back end of the New Year's celebration, see what you're up to. But hit the like button on the way out. If you're subscribed, hit that bell icon. Consider becoming a member if you're not already. And if you are a member, shout out to you guys. You make this channel what it is. So thanks again. Peace.